Okay, so you're 19, working at Howard Johnson's. 20. 20, working at Howard Johnson. And you met her or you knew her already?
No, you know Eugene Ellis?
Yes.
She introduced me to her.
All right, so now we're moving into the part where he met my mom. This is where it gets really interesting how he started making moves to prepare for his family. And I think it's very important. Okay, so you're working at Howard Johnson and you met my mother. And then what?
We got married.
They got married. And then what did you decide what needed to happen after y'all got married?
Well, we got married on June 1st,
Oh, y'all got married on June 1st?
1968. And
1968.
I got a letter from CTA on June 18th.
Did you apply for them or you?
Yeah, I got
Okay, you applied and you got the
I
letter.
already applied for it.
Okay.
I got the letter 18 days after we got married.
Ah. So,
My biggest break.
your biggest break was get the letter from the CTA? Okay, for those of you who don't know, CTA is the what is it? Chicago Transportation Authority? That's a box. Ain't nothing in there. You're looking for your cookies. Okay, so that's Chicago Transportation Authority. And that was your biggest break, huh? Because now you got a wife.
Yep. It was paying, when I started, it paid $3.33 an hour.
To drive the bus?
In 1968, yeah. That was unheard of. I had never heard of that kind of money.
So that was a lot.
That was a fortune. Couldn't find no job hardly paying $2 an hour.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that was your big break. Okay, so you started working at CTA. And then?
That was it.
So you started working at CTA, you got this new wife, and then along comes somebody gets pregnant. Isn't there a child in development around here somewhere? Breon. So did you feel pressured that you needed to make more money now because you got this whole wife and a son here?
Well, you always need more money.
Right.
So I was just glad I got the job, you know. So Bree was born.
Okay. So you got the job at CTA, and guys, how long have you worked at that job?
14 years.
14 years. So getting the job at CTA was your big break. And along comes all of these children, right? Okay, let's get to the house. How did Parkside get into the mix of this?
Well, we were living at 512 North St. Louis in a one-bedroom apartment.
Okay.
Shaw and Bree and Buzz were born, and Gloria was pregnant with Chris.
Okay.
So we needed a bigger space.
You need a bigger space. Okay.
So I told her I was going to look for a bigger apartment.
Okay.
And she said she didn't want no apartment, she wanted a house.
Okay.
So we started looking for a house.
Okay. So was it y'all drove around? How did they do it back then? They drove around and saw a sign? And how did the house market work back then?
Well, Bishop McCullough, our pastor, sold houses.
Oh, okay.
We asked him, and he was showing us houses that Gloria didn't like.
Oh, okay.
So we cut him a loose and found our own house.
Was he mad? Is that the church on Jackson, McCullough? Okay, so he went y'all to buy one of the houses that he was selling.
Yeah. wanted the commission.
Oh, okay. Okay. So how did y'all end up with Parkside? And I'll give you all a little
That's what we
backstory.
found. We found it.
When you all driving around looking and there was a sign, how
Looked
did y'all?
in the newspaper.
Oh, okay, the newspaper. Okay. I almost forgot how things went back then. Okay, so guys, Parkside is our house, our childhood house. We now have 3 kids. When Parkside came around, y'all up to 3 kids now? Because I wasn't existing yet.
Right, 2.
Okay, so Budge and Bree.
We got the house before Chris was born.
Okay, so child number 3 was en route, and that's when y'all found the house, known to us as Parkside. Parkside was a what would you describe it as? A 3-story?
3-story, but it had a full basement.
3-story full basement, big prominent house on the west side of Chicago. Now, this house was like a museum to us. Like literally, this house was a museum that I was raised in from the time I was born, and we'll get to me next. So, Chris is born. Y'all moving to Parkside, right? You working at the CTA, so we on our way basically. We on our way. So I come around and greatness starts. Just say it. Just admit it. Just admit it. So Parkside, I was born and raised in this house all of my life. The thing that I wanted to talk about in terms of you, I mentioned before, how old were you when of course you couldn't go to school no more because you started, how much schooling did you actually get a chance to get?
About 6th grade.
6th grade. And then after that you knew that you needed money, so you had to work. So the reason why that's important to me is because you were young. In 6th grade, how old were you?
I was behind about 15.
You was about 15. Look, even if you were behind or whatever, but I think the thing about not even the education part of it or about how far you got is the fact that you were that young when you decided that you wanted more for yourself. And even for what was ahead that you didn't even know was coming. You didn't, well, I guess you probably knew you was going to get married at some point, but for you to have been that young to know to stop and do the things that you did, to take the steps that you did to create this future for us. So that's why I kind of wanted to get to that part. And we'll kind of hold there because this, when it gets really good, when these 4 kids are around, and we are now in our big, it is considered a mansion, really. And you were how old when we acquired Parkside?
About 23, I guess.
So this 23-year-old young black man set out and started working at the age of 15. You had what, 4 jobs from the age of 15 to 20? You got the CTA at 20? 3 jobs.
At 21.
So he landed his big break job at CTA, which is a big what is Chicago Transportation Authority?
Chicago Transit Authority.
Chicago Transit Authority, which is the primary, even still today, transportation system in Chicago. So I'm impressed by the fact that you were 21, now with a wife and 4 kids, and you were able to get your family in this big, big house. I'm going to see if I can find a picture of this house so that you all can see how magnanimous this was. And for you to have been able to acquire that is huge. Considering you were so young when you had to start working and couldn't even really grow up, but you grew up into this person by the age of 21. So we'll stop here, then we'll get to all the greatness when I showed up, which is when life gets really good. But I just kind of wanted to highlight your background a little bit to get to where you are. So now we're living in this big palatial house now by this man who acquired it with 1 wife and 4 kids by the age of 20. How old was when everybody here? You were how old when everybody was here? 23? You were 23 when all of us were here?
I was about 26 when all y'all was born.
Okay, so by the age of 26, full kids, full wife, full job that he kept for 14 years with his break that he got at the CTA. Okay, we'll stop there, then we'll come back with the other stuff. But I just wanted to kind of put the background where the background go. Thank you, Black Daddy. Fabulous.